Caitlin Clark calling out referees by name. While Stephanie White is busy scared in the press conference, I don't want to say anything. Caitlin Clark saying, nope, I'm going to speak about it. While Stephanie White isn't even saying DeWanna Bonner or Alyssa Thomas's name in the press conference, sticking up for her players, Stephanie White, all you had to do in the press conference was say, hey, the players on the other team, they were playing dirty all game.
The WNBA is in the middle of another controversy, and this one is different. This is not a hard foul debate. This is not a locker room rumor or an anonymous source with an axe to grind. This one is right there on camera, in plain sight, with the audio to match. Caitlin Clark, one of the most watched athletes in professional basketball right now, was handed her fifth technical foul of the 2026 season during a win over the Phoenix Mercury on June 22nd. And when she walked over to referee Gerda Gatling and asked what the technical was for, Gatling gave her an answer that nobody watching could quite process. The technical, Gatling told her, was for clapping. For clapping her hands on a professional basketball court.
Fifth of the
Yeah,
season.
it's ridiculous. I got a technical for clapping. So, if we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping. I asked Gerda. Gerda said that I got a technical for clapping. So, if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. If it's truly for clapping, that's what they said they gave it to me was for clapping. So it's just ridiculous. I don't.
Clark did not hold back after the final whistle. She walked to that podium still fired up and said exactly what was on her mind. She also said, and this part matters, that referee Gerda Gatling told her the technical was for clapping and instigating. And when Clark heard that word, instigating, she gave Gatling a response that summed the entire situation up perfectly. She said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball. That's just facts. That's just reality. Think about that for a second.
Where do you have to be of the 8 technical fouls?
I mean, I'm going to play with emotion. I'm going to play with passion. And if they're going to give me a technical foul for clapping, then so be it. That's their choice. And the league can come back and review that play. And I'd love to hear what they say of the reasoning of why I got the technical foul in that situation and why other players on their team didn't get a technical foul in that situation. If anything, split it. Okay, fine. Everybody gets a technical foul. That wasn't how they were handed out. So I'd love to know. But obviously, that's what I went to Gerda and said. I said, why'd you give me a technical foul? She said, because I was clapping and instigating. I said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball. And that's just facts. That's just reality. So disappointing from
A player who just won a basketball game, who just dropped 24 points and 9 assists, is standing at a microphone telling the world she is already mentally scheduling her upcoming suspension because the officiating has reached a point where clapping her hands is now considered a punishable act on a WNBA floor. That is where things stand.
And see, Stephanie White, man, she is part of the problem. And she don't like when Caitlin hype up the crowd. That's what the people want to see, man. That's what the people pay the big money for, man. Let the face of the league be the face of the league, man. She feeds off of that energy, man. The whole team feeds off that energy, man. And Stephanie White, we want to stop that, bro. That's crazy. But yeah, Caitlin tired of these so-called bullies, man. And next game, y'all got to watch AT because she probably going to try to hurt somebody, man. You know how they do. But anyways, man, this is our real rivalry. They keep trying to make that girl over there in Atlanta our rivalry. That is not our rivalry, man. So I'm going to be honest, this is our real.
Here is the full picture, and it is important you see it all laid out at once because each individual call on its own might seem like a one-off. 5 technical fouls, less than half a season played. Let that sit. One came during a delay of game sequence that most analysts watching live considered borderline. Another came in a game against the Atlanta Dream where Clark had already been burning with frustration over a foul call she wanted Stephanie White to challenge from the bench, a challenge that never came.
Caitlin Clark and her technical fouls. Caitlin Clark got 2 technical fouls, or so we thought. The first one, the ball gets tipped out of bounds, she goes to get it, she kicks it off of her foot, thinking it'll go against the scores table and then come right back to her. But it didn't. Went off the side and kind of rolled down the court. She hustled after it, gave it back to the ref, and he called her for a bench technical for the delay of game. That goes against the bench, not against Caitlin Clark. Later, she did get a technical on her own at the end of the game when she argued a call with the ref. Once she hits 7, she has to sit out.
Then there was the confrontation where Clark called out a referee by name, Tyler Merkovich, at the post-game podium because she felt the officiating during that game was simply not right. And now, number 5. A technical foul for clapping at the free throw line during a moment of obvious emotion in the fourth quarter. 5 different games, 5 different situations, 5 whistles all pointing in the same direction. When a pattern repeats itself that consistently, you stop calling it coincidence. Now, the conver.
She'll speak up for herself at least. She'll stand up for herself at least, and instead of speaking in generalities, she said, you know what? I'm going to name referees by name from now on. If you give me a technical foul and all I did was clap, I'm gonna name you by name. So that next time we play this team, next time we play a game and you're refereeing my games and my fans see who's refereeing, we're like, oh, that's the one. That Gerda, that's...
Now, the conversation that is really making the rounds is the one Clark had with Gerda Gatling directly on the court before the press conference, before the podium statement, in the middle of the game itself. Clark walked up, calm but clearly not happy, and asked Gatling to explain the call. When Gatling said it was for clapping, Clark did not scream. She did not throw anything. She just looked at the official and said what was on her mind. Gatling told her it was clapping and instigating. Clark responded that if clapping is instigating, then the officials simply do not like competitive basketball. And here is what makes that exchange so important. Clark was not wrong. Clapping emphatically after a foul call is not instigating. It is a reaction. It is an emotion. It is the natural response of a competitor who disagrees with a call and expresses that disagreement through her body language rather than her mouth. Athletes do this in every sport, on every level, every single night. The fact that a professional referee saw that and reached for her whistle tells you something worth paying attention to.
You know, they said that Caitlin got it for clapping, and so I guess that's taunting. And then I was talking to the officials about it when the other stuff happened, so I didn't really see exactly what was happening at the time. You know, but look, like, it's competitive sport. Like, that stuff happens. You know, I felt like the officials did a good job, you know, after everything of getting it under control. I appreciate the way they called it after that, certainly. But as a group, we have to be able to have our moment and then regroup and play with poise and composure. It can't continue to...
Now, here is where the story takes a turn that a lot of people are talking about, and not in a flattering way for the Indiana Fever coaching staff. After the game, reporters naturally asked Stephanie White about Clark's 5th technical foul. About a call that her star player had publicly said was ridiculous. About a situation that has now put Clark 3 technicals away from a 1-game suspension. And Stephanie White's response? She did not come to the podium swinging. She did not call the technical foul absurd. She did not back up her player the way the moment demanded. Instead, she kept her answers carefully measured, and Clark's own post-game frustration ended up being the loudest voice in the room. Fans watching online were not impressed. One comment that went viral summed it up plainly. I'm still waiting for Stephanie White to get a technical foul for sticking up for her players. Specifically, Caitlin Clark. That comment hit because it captured something real. When your star player is at a podium telling the world she is already picking out a game to miss for her suspension, you do not offer measured responses. You go to the mat for her.
Stress enough how much I hate Stephanie White. Like, it is not one of these things where it's like, oh, you're like, I think she's a sabotaging Caitlin, all this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna go that far. Albeit, if you are someone that's gone that far, I am not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna stop you. I think trying to believe that someone is a good person is not a bad mentality to have towards things. But I will stand by this. I hate her.
And the clapping technical was not even the first time this season that Stephanie White left Caitlin Clark out there to handle a referee situation on her own. Go back to the game against the Atlanta Dream in June 2026. Clark was assessed her 5th foul of that game after defending Jordan Canada on a drive to the basket. It was a foul call that made Clark's jaw drop. She immediately turned to the bench, looking directly at Stephanie White. Eyes wide, body language saying everything, urging her coach to challenge the decision. The challenge never came. The whistle stood. Clark's frustration went through the roof. And White stayed on her bench without using a challenge that could have changed the momentum of that game. Now, coaches have strategic reasons for managing their challenges. Nobody disputes that. But when your player is standing in the middle of the court, visibly asking for backup, and the bench goes quiet, that is a moment the locker room remembers. That is a moment Clark has now experienced more than once.
And everybody else on the other team didn't get a technical foul. If we're handing out technical fouls for clapping, how come I got a technical and nobody else did? Gerda. Oh, you just don't like competitive basketball then? Oh, okay. Interesting. And then she says, I want the league to review it and get back to me. I want the league to review it and get back to me. Let me know why you decided to give me a technical, and hopefully it makes some sense to me.
Here is the question the entire basketball world is now forced to sit with. And it has two possible answers, both of them damaging. Either referee Gerda Gatling and some of her colleagues have a specific bias against Caitlin Clark, meaning they are applying a standard to her that they are not applying equally to every other player on the floor. Or they simply do not like the emotional, competitive, expressive way Clark plays the game. The first answer would mean the officiating in this league has become personal and targeted. The second answer is somehow worse, because it would mean the people paid to protect the integrity of competition are actively penalizing the very qualities that make great basketball what it is. Passion, emotion, music, the fire that comes from a competitor who cares deeply about winning every possession. The things fans actually come to arenas to experience. If the referees are whistling that out of the game, if they are treating competitive energy as a threat to be managed rather than a feature to be celebrated, this league has a problem that goes well beyond one bad call on a Monday night.
How was she taunting them, clapping? I don't, you can't even find her in the video. Like, you can't even find her on the video clapping in anyone's face. You can't find her on the video. I mean, if you can find the video for me, if someone has the video, send it to me. I want to see it, because I did not see video of her clapping in anyone's face, because it was Sophie Cunningham that was doing all this. And it was hilarious, but it wasn't Caitlin Clark. And then it was Maisha Hines-Allen going back and forth with Alyssa Thomas.
The league reviewed the technical after Clark's public statement, after the social media firestorm, after the sports world spent 2 days replaying that 10-second clip on repeat. The WNBA was forced into a corner. They looked at the call. They looked at the footage. They looked at referee Gerda Gatling's decision to issue a technical foul to Caitlin Clark for clapping her hands. And they rescinded it. That word, rescinded, is the most important word in this entire story. Because rescinding a technical foul is not routine. It is the league saying formally that the call should not have been made. It is the WNBA acknowledging that one of its own officials stood on a professional court and made a decision so far outside the boundaries of reasonable officiating that the league itself had to walk it back. Clark called for the review. Clark said the league should hear the justification and decide if it stands. She was right. And the league's own review backed her up completely.
Caitlin Clark, when she feels she deserves technical fouls, she'll come out in the press conference and say, you know what? I deserved that one. You know what? I earned that technical foul. She's done that on multiple occasions this year alone. But when we're slapping the stanchion rookie season and getting a technical, then she'll say, what are we doing here? When she gets a technical for clapping, lights on, lights off, the clapper. When she gets a technical foul for clapping, that's when she says, now we're getting...
But here is the part of this story that should genuinely concern every person watching this league grow in real time. The technical was rescinded. Great. That brings Clark back to 4 technical fouls on the season. But the suspension threshold is 8. 4 away. In a season that still has the back half to play. And the pattern of calls that got her to 5 in the first place has not changed. The referees assigned to fever games have not changed. The standard being applied to Clark when she claps, when she reacts, when she expresses emotion on a basketball floor, that has not changed either. So, the question is not whether the clapping technical was right or wrong. The league already answered that. The question is what happens in the next game, and the one after that, and the one after that. Because if the officiating does not shift, if the standard being applied to Caitlin Clark stays exactly where it has been all season, This suspension conversation is not over. It is just on pause.
It's crazy. It's absolutely bananas. This league is a joke. Good job, Kathy. Regular foul. The tech was for clapping to the fans earlier. Who cares? Who cares? This is probably why Stephanie White doesn't challenge fouls concerning Cece. Even with video evidence, the refs are still going to go against Cece. It's so obvious.
Here is the reality that the entire league, its executives, its officials, its coaching staffs needs to sit with. Caitlin Clark is not just a basketball player. Music. She is the reason the WNBA's viewership numbers look the way they look right now. She is the reason arenas that were half full 3 years ago are now selling out months in advance. She is the reason national broadcast deals exist for this league that did not exist before she walked into it. The growth is real. The audience is real. The cultural moment the WNBA is sitting in right now is real, and it is fragile in the way that all good things are fragile when the people managing them start making decisions that do not protect the product. Referee Gerda Gatling issued a technical foul for clapping. The league had to rescind it. Stephanie White did not come to the podium and fight for her player the way the moment called for. And through all of it, Caitlin Clark did what she always does. She said what she needed to say, named names, asked the hard questions, and then went and won the game anyway.
About Caitlin, she's growing as a person. She's finding her voice. She's saying, you know what, since, over there don't want to stick up for me, Miss closed the fist on her mouth every time there's a moment where she's supposed to speak up. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to speak out through the press conference. I think she needs to do that more often. She's not complaining. She had a legit reason. I mean, clapping, okay, being silly, but stop. That's not technical. Matter of fact, she was trying to do this. She was like, yeah, come on, guys. She was trying to pump up the crowd. She was trying to do something positive in the moment.
The story here is that the player doing the most to build this league, the player filling the arenas and driving the ratings, and carrying the national conversation about women's basketball, is standing at post-game press conferences scheduling her own suspension because the officiating has become this inconsistent. And the coach standing behind her podium is giving measured answers when the moment deserved a fight. Clark is fighting for herself because, in moments like this one, nobody else was fighting loudly enough for her. The technical got rescinded. The moment is documented. The pattern is on record. The question now is what the WNBA does with all of that because the fans are watching. And unlike some of the referees this season, the fans are paying very close attention to every single call.